How much do you want your loved one to be better, to feel better? Your loved one that's suffering in the hospital or any other medical care facility. If you're a patient, how much do you want to get well? How much? How much do you want it? Do you want to do everything you possibly can to facilitate healing in your body or not? Did you know what you watch is very important? What you watch can either invite healing or delay it or help, or doesn't bring it out at all. Now, this is my personal opinion. As in regards to what patients watch, because I've worked in healthcare facilities for quite a long time, and I've seen over and over again, patients are watching news programs, they're watching movies, they're watching comedies, and I'm not saying these things are necessarily bad in of themselves, but how much of them are watching these things regardless when they're even outside the hospital or the hospice care facility or the nursing home? How much of them are watching these things? All the time, pretty much, or a lot. Many of them anyway. Most of them I would think. But as soon as you flip on the television, there's program. Now there's an argument that, hey, why not, in the midst of all those channels, at least have a healthcare program available to watch? But how many of them are going to watch those things? Many of them some probably would, but I think many of them wouldn't. But if all you have is a healthcare program, and I'm talking about a plethora of healthcare programs from different angle, different perspectives. Maybe even a channel that just has an audio that they can listen to, really powerful health books on health that have been very helpful for a lot of people to transform their health. Come on, because first of all, education is a helpful tool to help patients get better. Now, some of them listen to the education, some of them don't. And to be frank, while the doctors and nurses and LPNs and surgeons and have a great task and share knowledge, to be frank, many healthcare professionals don't tell them certain things because they're thinking about, they don't want to lose your license. Come on. They don't want to stir up any sort of controversy with certain topics about health and exploring certain alternative routes of healing. And some of them just don't know. And a lot of them do rely very heavily on medications. You know, and rather than have to give them information about other alternatives, not just medication, but other alternatives. But if the patient has the information, even if not through the person, through media, they will have more of an arsenal to work with to decide for themselves what they want to do. And if they don't want to do it, that's their choice. But to have the exposure for them, because some patients, frankly, they don't get the information from their medical personnel. When they leave the hospital, they're not around people and friends. They're not around people who are savvy with health information. They go home and they go right back to the same old watching television programs that not teaching them anything edifying. It's all just entertainment. But maybe in a hospital room or wherever the medical facility that they were in, when they get the information coming at them and to their eyes and their ears, maybe they'll finally get their health together and take it seriously. Whoa, I never heard this before. Whoa, what a perspective that is. Whoa, that can help with that particular ailment. Whoa, I didn't know that treatment that herb can. Come on, I didn't know that can help. Saunas and therapies and hyperbaric oxygen chambers and moringa and all these different. There's so much to learn, but a lot of them don't have the exposure. They're not exposed to it. So how they gonna know? But to give them the opportunity to even have that is lacking in medical care facilities. And come on, if they're really serious about health, what's the problem? But there's an argument that's out there that many medical care facilities are not really about health. They're really about keeping people sick, to keep the money rolling in. Seems to be that way. And I'm not knocking down medical facilities at all. They can help. They do help. But with certain things, I'm like, and especially with serious injuries, go to a hospital. Be on meds for a while, okay. Especially for the very, very serious stuff that's going on. But how many ailments could be avoided if they had education? And not just education, but if they actually implemented what they are learning, So they're watching, maybe watching old comedy is not a big problem because laughter is good. Laughter can do good for the body, but while that's good, how many of us are just watching that over and over and over again, but not being exposed to other credible actual information that can help them with their health, And a lot of them just watching news, and a lot of the news is bad news. That's gonna affect the body as you're feeling down, you're feeling bad, you're feeling irritated about what's going on in the world. Action movies, and I'm not per se against action movies, but there's a lot of emotion that can come up with that. Your favorite character is getting beat up, he got caught and he's being tortured or something like that. You feel, why is he getting? Oh, come on, save him! Come on, why is he? Why my favorite character getting beat up here? And that can start to feel kind of. All they know is fake. Some patient may feel like, man, come on, where's the help for this guy here, this girl who got caught? Who's getting hurt here? And also, again, it's all just entertainment. You're not learning anything edifying for your health. Just watching action movies. Just watching horror movies and watching the news. So that's just my perspective on it, my opinion on it. Because when they're watching health program, whenever I watch health programs, me personally, I get more encouraged. I get more motivated. I feel my body just getting more stimulated towards health, right? And I'm not saying, hey, watching health programs all the time is gonna prevent every illness from happening. Of course not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think with certain illnesses, potentially it could help you to facilitate faster healing. And yeah, sure. Hey, we're all gonna die of something, right? But if before I die, I can have a greater quality of life, and maybe not have to deal with so much pain, have to deal with so much illness or severity of illness that's mitigated before I die. Hey, why not? Why not? Right? Because what we take in through our senses, what we're watching, affects the emotions and it affects the body. So, listen, I pray that if someone's here who is maybe in charge of some facility somewhere, or who can talk to their other staff members about what do you think about what we're putting on these televisions and getting that all altered in some way, changed in some way. I know it would have a stronger impact on health in general. So that's just something that I've noticed, and I'm like, why? And I'm not afraid to talk about it, and I'm not afraid to address it. So, all right, y'all. So take your health. Very important. Very importantly, health is wealth. You get the car, the house, the money, the career, but health is wealth. None of that. You can't enjoy any of that without adequate or optimal health. Health is wealth. You like to feel good, physically and mentally. All right, y'all. Much love. Blessings.